Now we're starting structures. Okay, so this is the first example we're using for a structure to introduce the topic. So we start with the include stdio.h. Now the way we start a structure, we put str UCT struct. Okay, we're giving it a name. It's like we're declaring a variable. We give the type and then the name. Okay, so now the structure name we're calling it is coordinates. Okay, COORDS. It could be anything. Okay, and we open it up with the curly brace as if we're defining defining a function. We start with a curly brace here and we say it has an integer type variable called x, integer y. Okay, so it's going to be holding xy positions. Okay, and we close. Now what we do at the end is we put a name that will borrow the structure of coordinates. Okay, so this point holds the same values or the same structure as the word COORDS. Okay, so now point also has an integer x and an integer y. Okay, as part of its structure. We also do another declaration now of struct chords, and we call it tops. Therefore that means that we're actually doing exactly the same as this structure of chords called tops. So tops and point would be exactly the same. Okay, the same as in the structure of tops and the structure of point. They will borrow the chords structure. Okay, so they've got exactly the same, and that's what we're saying here in this line. Once we've declared it, we can actually make use of it, just like we're defining a variable. So we now, we can then start saying, right, a is an integer, b is an integer, c is an integer. We have the same type. Okay, so tops is the same type as chords. Okay, and points is the same type as tops. It's just a different way we're doing it. Instead of putting tops again or rewriting the whole thing, we just write this like just one line like that. Okay, so now we define main. We open up main. We don't need to put this integer here, and we can say point dot x. Now we're referring to the x part of the structure. So we put a dot in the center there. So we put point dot x equals 5. So now we're putting 5, the value inside x, and now we put another point dot y and we put 8. So now we're putting inside the structure of point there is a y element and an x. In x we're giving it the value of 5, and in y we're giving it the value of 8. The way we refer to these two is that we put a full stop in the middle. Okay, and that refers to this, and that one refers to that y there. Okay, so we gave it that value. Also now top, it has the same structure as point, but this time we have different values in its x and its y. So now top has, in its x it's got 16 and its y has 27. So they are borrowing the same, or inheriting is another word we can say, inheriting the same structure as point, and it has it in tops, and it uses the same x and y, but now it's a different values. Okay, so now we're going to print the 2 out and see what happens here. So we say point x %d because we want integer, and point y %d because another integer, and we say what's the value of point dot x, point dot y, and we do the same for top x and y. So top dot x and top dot y, and it should print the different values. Okay, because it has a different value inside the x and its y. Right, so let's have a look at that and see it running. We say build. Okay, it says aborting compiler. Okay, it says line 14, top not found. So let's have a look at what happened here. It's got like that. So we say top. You see where we made a mistake? It says tops here. Okay, so we can say tops. We can change this and put an S here, or we can just delete the S in there. So we're going to delete the S and call it a top. Okay, we're going to save it, and we're going to compile, build. Okay, so it's completed. It worked fine. So now what we're going to do, we're going to go to the command prompt, and we're going to say we've put it into structure. So we have to get out of this particular directory and change it to structure, and we called it struct. It tells us here top point X is 5, point Y is 8. So we put 5 and 8. Yep, that's correct. X was 5 here and Y was 8. And we say top was 16 and Y was 27. 16 and 27. So it has two different coordinates on the graph. The point Y and X, the initial ones, and the top point of Y and X as well. Okay, so that concludes the first introduction to structures. Okay, we're gonna move on to defining type structures in the next section.